What if the way that you respond to your life, to love, relationships, food, sex, to yourself, what if it's not really about now at all? What if your nervous system is still stuck in a relationship that you didn't even choose? And this is the relationship you had with your mother. Now, I'm deep in this journey at the moment, and as I've been working on my relationship with my mum, I've been absolutely amazed about how I can piece together my behaviour throughout my whole life is how I kind of held back from my mother. And I can go into more detail later, but what I want to say right now, it's important to look at two things before we begin. Firstly, this conversation isn't necessarily about creating a better relationship with your mum in real time, though that might happen naturally, but it's not about that. This work is essential even if your mother's passed away, or even if your mother isn't in your life anymore, even if you've decided that that isn't what you want. Because it's about you. It's about how that early attachment could be still affecting your life now. You are the most important thing in this conversation. And let me say that this is to men as well as women. It's about sons and daughters. And it's important to know that this work only involves you. You don't need your mother to be part of it. You don't need to talk to her about it. It's all about you. So that relationship with your mother, it creates our sense of safety. We create our attachments to life. And we do this when we're really young, long before we even have any language. And it's these early patterns that shape how we then feel as we grow older, how we love, how we protect ourselves, and what we think is our personality, and what holds us back as well, how we sabotage our life. And this isn't about blame at all, it's about healing. And I think many people feel afraid to even look at this area of their life, the mother wound, because it can trigger this huge sense of guilt and disloyalty. I know that for me, I couldn't have spoken openly about this a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago, I've had to do a lot of work on myself before I got to this stage. And even now, there is a small part of me that is afraid that my mum will think I'm blaming her, But I'm not, I'm truly not. So to do good work in this area, we have to fully accept that our mothers were doing the best that they could at the time. In life, anyone can only act from their level of experience and awareness, can't they? So let's remember that. And also, our mothers were conditioned by their mothers, who were conditioned by their mothers, of course. And they were only doing the best that they could. And throw on top of that the women in our generational lineage, they were experiencing, we have to take into account, don't we, what was going on in the cultural and social aspects of their environment. They were affected by so many things. Only a couple of generations ago, they lived through wars. I mean, they've suffered so much. They've lived through intense sexism and not even had the right to vote. Limitations were placed on the women in our generations going back, as well as those emotional conditioning that we talked about from their parents. And then throw in this, maybe domestic abuse, childhood abuse, specific trauma, illnesses, and you can see why many of us have such a deep mother wound. But it's important to know that we can't escape that this bond between mother and baby, how intense it is and how important it is. We can't ignore that bond, and that's why I'm finding that the most therapeutic work I'm doing on myself at the moment is by really understanding this. So even if a baby is being cared for, fed, clothed, held, it's so much more than that. It's a baby knows whether it feels love, whether it feels safe, and its nervous system starts to learn something about the world. It can learn something like either the world isn't a safe place, I can't trust anyone, my needs don't get met. And then we might think, so I'll look to others to fill them. We might end up being people pleasers. Or we might think, what's the point in trying in life because I don't get anywhere and my needs aren't met anyway. And this can come from, when a mother is overly controlling. There are so many different aspects to this, different types of parenting. Or maybe our mother was just overwhelmed and just simply couldn't cope, so she couldn't be there for us fully. But this is where we start to connect our relationship with food, love, sex. This is where addiction can come from. And so, because we're trying to fill that space in our body that should have been filled by the mother. And there are so many ways that this shows up in our lives. Too much for me to go into really now. So if you want to go into this deeper, I've got a few books that I really, really recommend. So please feel free to reach out and I'll suggest some great books to you that you can look at this in a lot more depth. And I've realised that in my own healing, that as a young child, I was so overwhelmed and confused by my relationship with my mother that my nervous system shut down. I kind of remember this happening. Now, you might have heard people say that if you shut down one part of your life, then you have to shut down all the part of your life. You know, you can't shut down a little part and then be open and joyous. And I've really found this to be true. And in trying to protect myself from hurt, I've also shut out love. First from her, then from others, and even love connected to myself. Gosh, it is so complex. And this whole video is really an invitation to pause and ask, if you're not living an authentic life, that is being true to yourself, if you feel stuck in addiction or in people pleasing or in you isolate yourself, and if you're constantly reaching for things, whether it's shopping, other people, food, alcohol, to fill you, then it's quite likely that you might be carrying a mother wound. And healing begins when we get to a place where we can be at peace with what we didn't get, what we didn't receive. And also open our hearts to what we did receive. And this is kind of the hardest bit, I think. It has been for me anyway. We have to look honestly at what our mothers did do for us, that they thought were helpful, even if it was kind of like tough love, When I first started doing this work, my nervous system just resisted because I just had such control associated with what I did get from my mum. But through somatic work, through meditation, shaking, my anger work, grief work, I've realised something huge. I've been defending the wrong thing. I've been defending my right to be a victim, to hold on to my mother wound and to suffer, when really I should have been defending my right to be me, to be loved, to be free. And I'm still on this journey. But it has already changed my life to realise that letting go of allowing the love that I do feel for my mother into my heart and allowing how much she loves me back into my heart has completely changed my life. So let's do a simple practice around this now. Just close your eyes and just breathe into your body. Just feel your body. Draw a line from the crown of your head down to your pelvic floor and breathe in up that line, through your nose and down that line out of your mouth. Just do that 3 times, breathing in and down. Just one more time, breathe in and out. And then you might want to place your hand on your heart. And then I just want you to recall even just one thing that your mother did for you. Just one small thing. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be that she put food on the table every night, washed your clothes. It could be that she left you. Maybe she thought that was the best thing at the time. But just place your hand on your body and just receive that gift from her, thanking her for doing that for you. And allow your body to open up to it and see how that feels. Now, as I talk about in all my videos, this journey to self-discovery isn't linear. Like, I'm not asking you to do this exercise now and suddenly you're like, oh yeah, the relationship with my mum is great now. It doesn't work like that. You might feel complete shutdown at this part of this video. And if that's the case, then you know where your work is. Or you might think, actually, that even though it's small, it sits okay with me. And just know that your relationship with your mother is played out in your patterns with the other people in your life. And of course, this is a similar thing for our relationship with our father, but we're only looking at the mother relationship today. And also because we were, carried around by our mother and we were affected by her nervous system, this initial stages are more intense than with the father. When the baby comes out of the mother, it's the bond with the mother that starts forming the deep relationships, the deep conditioning rather in our nervous systems. So this is just like an introductory video to start to get you to examine and reflect with love and compassion on your relationship with your mother and looking at how that is affecting the rest of your life. And one thing that you can be really grateful of to your mother is that she gave you life. And that's huge, isn't it? She gave you your life. So did your dad. So no matter how tough things are, we can be grateful for that because life is a gift, So I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video and that it's helped just start to explore this relationship. And please reach out if you've got any comments or leave comments. And as always, please like and subscribe my videos because it really is my mission to help people unravel our lives if we're feeling like we're on autopilot, we're feeling disconnected, or actually feeling depressed, even suicidal. And it's all because of this stuff, It's not because of us, that there's something wrong with us. It's because of this stuff. And this stuff we can be analytical about. We can look at it and we can change it. So, yeah. So have a lovely rest of your day or evening, whatever you're doing. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.